everyone. Welcome to the Four on the Floor podcast, where we ask our guests 4 questions about music, drums, and life. I am your host, Liz Aponte. I am also the owner of Full Circle Company, and today we have Anthony Ghazel with us. Did I say your last name right, by the way?
That is correct. Gazelle, like the animal.
I meant to check with you, but I totally forgot.
That is correct. It actually means gazelle, the animal, in Arabic.
That's
which
amazing.
Is funny. Yeah.
Well, Anthony is a drummer. He's toured with bands such as Falling in Reverse. He's out right now with Hollywood Undead. Last year, he toured with the Juliana Theory. He's also teched for bands like Papa Roach and The Ghost Inside. Not only that, he does lifestyle marketing for Liquid Death, and as if that wasn't enough, he's also the creator and founder of Rock Locks, which help you keep your drums in tune. I'm so excited to talk about all of this with you, Anthony. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad this worked out.
Yeah.
I always am down to do stuff like this and talk about drums. So.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we love drums here. We love cymbals.
Yeah.
And we're excited to get into some other areas of your life too and learn more. Just as a warm-up question, I love to ask our guests a little bit about what they think of Salt Lake City. So you're currently here now with Hollywood Undead in Salt Lake City, Utah, gonna play a sold-out show in a couple hours. And so I'm wondering, since you've been a touring drummer for quite a while, you've been all over the world. I know this isn't your first time in Salt Lake. So is there a memory or something like that that pops up to you when you think about Salt Lake City?
Yeah, I actually love this question because I always tell people that Salt Lake City is my favorite city in the world to play, and I actually mean that. Yeah, totally. I didn't tell you this earlier. Yeah, it's true. I tell people this all the time. You could ask my mom, my girlfriend, whatever. The first time I came to Salt Lake City was 2011. I was in a local band in Seattle, and we drove around and played, some small shows in a van. And I vividly remember playing in Salt Lake City, and the show had like 12 people at it, but it was like cracking. Like it was the best show of our tour. Yeah. And we were all hyped at the end of the night because we're like, yo, there was 12 people here, but they actually liked us. Like, that's crazy. Well, fast forward, what is that, 12 years now? I've played Salt Lake City, basically every venue I could think of, plus Warped Tour here. Every show has been awesome. Like every show I've ever played in Salt Lake City, knock on wood. We'll see if tonight's show goes well. But as far as a memory that stands out, that honestly is the memory. Like the first time ever coming here, like I thought it was dope. So
that's an amazing memory. Like I probably wasn't at that show, but I'm proud. And I know what you mean because I've been at those shows where there's maybe 10 to 20 people, but those 10 to 20 people just like go off. I think there's a core group of people out here that just have an amazing energy and just really love music.
Yeah. And I played here with a local band, but I've played here like professionally with at least 4, if not 5 different artists, separate artists. So everything from clubs to, Great Salt Air, whatever that venue is called, that giant one out on the Salt Lake. Yep. And the complex, I've played both rooms like 2 or 3 times. Like I've just been here a bunch, and I love Salt Lake City. So
that's amazing. Yeah. So I gotta talk about this video that you posted recently.
Yeah, dude, it blew up.
It blew up. It showed up in my TikTok feed, like other people posting it. Like
on
drum accounts and stuff like that. Yeah,
on TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh shit! So people are stealing it and putting it on.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hate to be the bearer.
No, that's actually kind of cool.
But
that's
it's
hilarious.
Kind of a compliment. Yeah. So in this video, you are playing live and you hit play on the tracks, and you, from your caption, you don't hear anything. And you look around at your band and they are playing like normal, acting like normal. And so it seems like there's some sort of connectivity, like frequency issue with your pack. You don't hear anything, band's going, everything else seems normal, and you're the only person who knows what's actually going on.
Yeah.
That is insane. That's literally every drummer's worst nightmare.
Yeah. Oh, man, something weird happened because I'm not good at social media, and I had this weird gut feeling when I was making that video. I was like, this video is gonna like do well. Like people are gonna relate to this because I feel like everybody, like when I was a kid, nobody was playing with in-ears or on with a click track or tracks or whatever. The first serious local band I was in, we played along to a metronome and like very simple backtracks coming out of an iPod. Okay.
Right.
So from then on, fast forward to now, it's like every band, even small bands, use click tracks, metronomes, backtracks. Like not every band, but most bands. So I think the reason that video sort of caught some wind is because so many drummers and musicians have experienced it on so many different levels. They've just never seen it happen in an arena. Like they've seen it happen in their like local club or like their some bar in their town or whatever. Like everybody's had an issue where like their mix is screwed up and like they can't do anything about it. Well, when it happens in a situation like that, it is horrifying because I'm on a 4-foot riser, which is tall for a riser.
Yeah. And
you're up on an island. And I was just telling Liz earlier, like, I don't have a drum tech on this run. It's a bus space issue. And so I've, mitigated risks on every front that I possibly could. Up until this tour, I was always hardwired. So on this tour, I thought for the first couple shows, I was like, why don't I use a wireless pack? It makes running onto the stage a little more smooth, and like tons of big bands use wireless packs. Like I'll be all right.
Right, especially if you don't have a tech to set it up for you. Like running the line.
For
that wired mic. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, and it's a really awkward thing. The post has like over 1,000 comments, and everybody and their mom has an opinion on like what they would have done in that scenario, and it's like unless you've experienced that, you can never. And the first time that ever happened to me was 10 years, 12 years ago. It was so long ago. The first time I ever experienced something like this, and I panicked and I just blew it. And I'm sure that happened many times. Like I have bombed, so to speak, 1,000 times on stage. I've screwed up more times than I could ever count. In this scenario, what I'm thinking is, okay, I know what's going on. I know everything's coming out of the house. I know everyone else. I can look around. Everyone else seems to be okay with their mixes. They'd be looking at me if something was going wrong. They'd be looking at me or monitors.
Right.
Monitor world over to the left. I know I'm screwed. I think to myself, I got half a second to decide, do I stop this track and start this song, which is horrible, or do I just wing it and pray to God that, my wireless pack comes back on? And you're at that point, you're playing to nothing. You're playing to echoes in the room, and my in-ear monitors are essentially acting as earplugs, which don't help because like if I had those off, maybe I could hear the side fills a little bit.
Right.
So on our stage, we don't have like any monitors anywhere. The only thing we have is side fills. So, those are not for me. They're for the singers. And so I can kind of hear a little bit out of there, but thank God the track came back in, and it's just a part of like the only way I look at it now is like I've dealt with every issue you could possibly think of on stage. I've had laptops overheat. I've had my in-ears break. I've had one ear cut out. I've had the other ear cut out. I've seen it all. And so in the moment, I kind of knew what was going on. And I went, okay, just stay calm. Like, stay calm. Play slower than you think, because whenever you're nervous and panicking, you want to speed up.
Right.
Play slower than you think. Focus on what Jordan's saying, like his vocals, like what he's singing. Maybe I could play along to his like vocals. But it all worked out, and so here we are. Yeah,
I think you handled it extremely well.
Thank you.
Super amazing. I'm wondering with that, going through that experience. I know you said multiple times, but every time is different. I can't imagine the pressure of, especially being in an arena, and it's like if you haven't experienced that, like I don't know if you have a place to comment, because that's a whole different level of pressure. So, do you think that experience has made you a better drummer?
Yeah, I mean, like the road to success is littered with failures. Like I look at every part of life that way. It's like you have to shoot your shot. You have to fail. You have to fail a lot. And like I'm 32 years old now. I'm not like worried about what somebody on the internet, like how if they think I'm a good drummer or not. Like I know what I bring to the table. But it's like I've also made a lot of mistakes on stage, and I'll be the first to admit that. Like I'm the hardest critic of myself, so it's like nobody can nail me harder than I can nail me. So Yeah, it definitely made me a better drummer, and I'm never going to a wireless pack again. Like I went back to hardwired. I've had no problems with like any RF issues or frequency issues. At the end of the day, it was basically I was put on a bad channel and I had a bad frequency, and then in that moment, what we think happened was our monitor engineer, God bless his soul, was trying to switch me over to another pack, and something went wrong and cut my pack was actually off. So it's a long story, but yeah, right. I recovered okay, and that's the most views I've ever gotten on any post I've ever made in my life. It's like at 550,000 views or something,
and counting,
and I don't even know what makes things go viral. It's not even viral, but in drum world, I guess it fell on a bunch of other. Bill Burr liked the post. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, lots of stuff can go wrong on stage, man. You need a drum tech at this level. Like you need a drum tech when you're on an island up there, and like there's so many things can go wrong. Like I invented rock locks to make it so my drums wouldn't go out of tune. This guy named Juiced out in the Netherlands invented the JK hooves, which I'm obsessed with. They make it so my stands don't go anywhere. Like my whole kit is like super triple locked in. Like it's not going anywhere. I've had to do this to mitigate all risks. And then it's like when a playback issue happens, it's just like, oh my God, there's nothing you can do about that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So. Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, on the business side of things, I actually, we have here at Full Circle, we have a part-time employee. And so going through the hiring process though, like I prefer the street smarts over the like book smarts when hiring,
any day of the week.
Yeah. And so if I'm trying to find a drummer to play on my tour or something, I would 100% rather choose the drummer that has been through experiences like that. Not only that, but can share it and kind of give that insight to other drummers than I would someone who's played flawless or has had zero issues, because issues will happen.
So. I can take apart and fix anything on my drum kit. Like, I've seen it all. Everything on my kit is broken at some point. So, actually I had a drum tech this past summer in Europe. Shout out to my boy, Nick. He had never drum tech before, but he's toured a bunch, and he wanted to learn, and he had a great attitude, and I taught him how to drum tech in like 2 days, and he was awesome. He was great the whole summer. So I'll take someone with a good attitude and who wants to work hard any day over somebody who like knows what they're doing.
Speaking of kind of the work business world, I know you have a really unique role in that you do lifestyle marketing for Liquid Death, the water company. And so I love that because you not only play drums and tour, but you also work for them as well. And that seems like a pretty unique role where you're doing two things at the same time. And so not only that, but Liquid Death, I feel, is just like redefined marketing. Like they're just a masterclass in marketing.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love how they're just totally unapologetic and how distinctive they are. And how funny everything is too. Like it's like you see skulls and all this stuff, but it's not a serious brand at all. And especially it seems in that space, it's just so corporate and boring, and it's just a really nice flair.
Yeah, you're nailing it.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if you can take us behind the scenes on what it's like working for Liquid Death, especially as you balance your touring career as well.
For sure. I started working for Liquid Death. It was a COVID job. So touring was dead. I live in Southern California, so Liquid Death was already in Whole Foods. This was like 2000. I saw it in Whole Foods in like, I don't know, late 2019 or early 2020. And I did the same thing everyone else does, which is like, what is this? And I thought it was a beer. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, these guys are crazy. Like, I can get down with this. And so, COVID is going on and I'm like was in dire need of work, and I like went on their careers page and they had a job open as a sales rep actually. And I was like, hey, I'll do anything. I need money. So I got interviewed. They hired me like immediately. I was working this job and eventually like found my way onto their lifestyle marketing team because I was like, I told the founder of the company, Mike, is like the coolest guy in the world. He's so awesome. He's so supportive of like my career, but also the careers of like everybody at the company. And so I joined the lifestyle marketing team, which is a very unique team. It's people it's a group of us that are pros in our own worlds. So like, this is how to describe it to people. Like, we have a pro snowboarder, a pro skater, an adult actress, like, we have an insane artist, like a tour manager, comes from like the hip hop world. So we have these people that kind of represent all these different backgrounds, and we all connect Liquid Death like with our communities. So like in the early days of Liquid Death, I was getting it out to, as you've seen, any drummer you've ever seen post about it, or, you know, band kind of in our world or whatever. It was probably coming from my team or me. It's been great. Like, I love working for the brand. I say often that it feels like I'm working for a band, because when somebody finds out that I'm working for Liquid Death, they want to ask like a lot of questions.
Right.
So like, well, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if somebody finds out I play drums in a band or something, they like typically ask a bunch of questions.
Right.
Liquid Death is that interesting. It's like, people have a lot of questions. They love the branding. It's a case study at every university. It feels like like, and it's supposed to be funny. It's like, and we're a beverage brand now. We have iced tea. We have like flavored sparkling water. So it's a dream come true. And they kind of carved out a role so that I could still tour and play drums, because they know how much I love that, but also still keep up with what I'm doing with Liquid Death. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
And when I think of, what that work culture or lifestyle is like working for Liquid Death, I imagine it's not the traditional office environment. Like, you're not on Zoom calls all day. You're not like hating your boss. You're not, saying that corporate lingo.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there's any, just any like quirky or funny team rituals that we wouldn't expect from what we see from Liquid Death. I don't know, something like Yoga Fridays or something like that.
Oh, I see. Let me think. Well, it is funny because like the headquarters, like there's a office in the headquarters, like a boardroom, but it's like a boardroom making fun of boardrooms. You know what I mean? Of course, It's got like a mini putt green in there and stuff. Like, I think one thing that's cool that we do every year, we do a death party. We call it the death party, and it's a big company party. So the first year I was with them, it was like 40 people or something. Well, this last year was like big, and then the next year is going to be, massive. Like this last year, there was a bunch of people. It was so many new faces. It was like crazy. So, the death party. We do like different team activities. Like, I always do the golf tournament every year. So
fun.
It's a really cool company, and like we're doing some really cool stuff. So, we got it here today.
Any like top moments for you working for the company? Like, I know the iced tea, once those launched, I was even really excited about it and bought each one and tried them out. Is there any kind of like milestone or unexpected moment working with Liquid Death that pops up for you?
God, there's so many. It has been such a wild ride. It feels like every month I'm just surprised by like, what are we doing? This is amazing. This is insane. Like, it really is a rocket ship. I think one of my favorite things was like when we made that snare drum with SJC. We wanted it to look like this can, the sparkling can, and it turned out great. And it was like such a fun marketing tool. And we had my friend Sam Pura made like a free snare drum plugin that you can download on purified.com. It's like a Liquid Death snare.
Oh, that's awesome.
So like, that was a really fun project because it was like, damn, like you're letting me make a snare drum like it says Liquid Death on it. Like, this is so fun for me. Like, this is amazing, and everybody loved it. So
like, here's an idea, like the can but a snare drum.
Yeah,
like,
and it'll be aluminum.
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, brilliant. Let's do it. Let's run it. Let's make
amazing.
it. Yeah. So that kind of stuff is like what makes Liquid Death really special. I know it doesn't feel like a corporate job. It's not at all. It's fun. It's cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I know earlier we talked about your company, Rock Locks. And so those are just tension rod locks to keep your drums in tune. And I'm wondering how your experience in touring and teching led you to kind of see that there was a need for a product like this that led you to create it? And then I'm wondering too, what type of drummer do you think absolutely needs the Rock Locks?
Well, I've always been quite a bit of a gear head. I think earlier in my life, it was to compensate for not being good at drums. And then now it's paying off because like I know all about my gear and I have some really nice gear. But I think for me, the thing was like I had tried everything to keep my tension rods from moving. And the last thing for me, that when I'm playing on stage, like or recording or whatever, the last thing I want to be thinking about is my gear. Like I don't want to be thinking about my gear. I don't want to be distracted by anything. I don't want something screwing up a good take. Like I don't want, whatever. There's nothing worse than you're in the studio and you nail a good take and the engineer's like, ooh, the snare drop tuning. It's like, you got to rerun it. It's like, dude, oh my God. Like that's so,
Yeah.
So it was honestly an invention out of necessity because I felt like nobody had solved the problem. Again, it was a COVID thing. I was very productive during those years.
Nice.
And one of my best friends from childhood, he builds robots for a living. And so I went over.
That's cool.
Yeah, I went to it. He lives in LA and we both moved to LA from Washington State. And I went over to his house in December 2020 and he had some 3D printers and I had this idea and we got to work and then, many, many hours and many prototypes later, we got an injection mold and kind of did it for real and started a real business. And I knew it was going to do well because I just kind of know how like real drummers think, but I didn't know it was going to like blow up this fast.
Right.
It definitely like took over drum world pretty fast. Like it's very quickly becoming a household name, like as far as a product goes. And it's been a joy. And to answer the question about like who needs to use it, I mean, any drummer who's ever experienced their drums detuning, specifically their snare, like most drummers have experienced that at some point. And I get a comment a lot. It's like, oh, I'm not a heavy hitter, so this doesn't apply to me. Or if you have really nice drums, they won't drop tuning. It's like, that's not true. I have really nice drums. I have very nice drums and they drop tuning. If you hit them hard enough, they'll go out of tune.
Right.
But even crazier, like you could take a Ludwig, Acrolite, which is an amazing snare, or like a Black Beauty, like one of the most recorded snare drums of all time. That thing drops tuning like within seconds if I play it. And to be able to have that tone and that drum and not have to worry about it dropping is like the best thing in the world. Right. So that's, I mean.
And like you said, just one less thing to worry about.
One less thing to worry about.
Drums are so many variables, especially if you're playing live, and it's just one less thing.
One less thing to worry about, man. And if you're not like a particularly hard hitter and you're on tour and you don't blow through heads often, I mean, I'd be surprised if you even have to tune your drums in between shows. Like I just changed heads this morning. I have not touched my head since 5 shows ago or whatever. Yeah. I pull them out of the cases. They sound great. Well, if they don't sound great, I'll fix them. Sometimes, the elements of the weather and the altitude,
right.
There's certain other things that can affect the tuning of your drum. But as far as just being able to get through a set or get through a recording session without your main drums falling out of tune, like it's a game changer. So. Right.
Well, and something I didn't even think about is for producers as well, just to have on hand.
Oh, yeah.
With whether it's, a house kit that a drummer that's coming in to record is using, or just having them at the ready right when you dial in, the tuning, just set those on.
Yeah.
And
I've set them to a lot of engineers and different studios. I would love, every studio needs to have them, of course. But I've been working on some cool stuff and I got more products on the way. Sneaky. So
okay.
I'm working on I'm creating a new product and I'm potentially collaborating on another product with another really cool brand. So we'll see what's up next.
Any hints you can drop? I know that was basically a hint, but
well, let's just say that they are products in the same category and they're products that I love, and I'm trying to make a one-stop shop for like all the dopest drum stuff that like any drummer would be like, okay, I could use any of this. Like these are all valuable tools for my kit. So I I think that the drum industry needs an upheaval. I think that it needs to be flipped on its head. There's too many AR folks who have no idea what they're doing. They don't know how to communicate with artists. There's too many drummers I know who are so good and don't have drum endorsements.
Right.
There's too many drummers with drum endorsements who are really unhappy with their drum endorsements because they don't actually get any support.
Right.
So I'm hoping that that my generation can sort of take over the drum industry. Like, I would love to just flip this thing on its head and like do something different. There's too many like out of touch people making decisions. So
right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm out here on tour actually playing, and like not everybody has that like in their bag. So it's like you need to go get answers from real pros, not like from someone that doesn't play drums. You know what I mean? So
100%.
Anyway.
Sweet. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
We'll look forward to that.
Yeah. It'll be great.
Like a one-stop shop sounds amazing.
Yeah, I know.
Because right now I'll go to my local drum shop. They probably don't have things. So then I go online, but then it's like different lists. It's so annoying.
It is annoying. And I don't know if I'll ever be able, I obviously I'd love to have my own, I'd love to have my own drum company, my own drum head company, my own whatever. That may not be in the cards. We'll see, but at least like accessories, at least like, okay, I'm going on tour or I'm going on a recording session or whatever. My band has practice, a place you can go get some like really cool stuff that will like make your gear sound, look, feel better.
Right.
So.
And with that too, maybe some full circle drum keys there.
Yes.
Just at the ready. You know what I mean?
I'm a big fan.
Nice.
Yeah,
Perfect.
absolutely.
Yeah. And so speaking of full circle, so I named my company Full Circle Company, not only because we use broken cymbals that drummers have used and we're going to throw away, and we save them and revive them into jewelry, drum keys, bracelets, bottle openers. Not only because cymbals are like a circle, but also because the material that we use coming full circle, starting off as just a malleable metal, getting made into something where someone can use to hone their craft, so much so that they broke it, didn't know what to do with it, so we were able to take it and give it a new life. So I'm wondering if, thinking back on your career, if there's been a moment for you where you can say something has come full circle.
Oh, many times. Before you texted me this morning, I actually was in the complex thinking to myself, I remember coming here in 2013, playing the smaller room.
10 years ago. Wow.
Oh, it's 10 years ago. I remember playing the smaller room and going like, damn, that bigger room is like, is that where like the big boys play? And it's like, it's been 10 years. I've played the small room like 2 or 3 times and the big room 2 or 3 times. And it just was a reminder. It was like, okay, this has been really hard. This has been the hardest thing I've ever done. And the music industry will like kick your ass. It will knock you down so many times. And it's like such a cliche, but it's so true. It is brutal. Being a hired gun drummer is one of the hardest jobs I could ever, in music, it's like one of the hardest jobs because for me, for example, I live in LA, right? For the last 10 years, longer actually, I've been renting lockouts because I can't play my drums in my house or an apartment. So, and an electric drum kit doesn't do it, it just doesn't do it for me. Right. And even if you have an electric drum set and you're in an apartment, it's still making a bunch of noise in an apartment.
Yeah. Like, it's just such a different feel.
Feel. And so I think it's just like, this morning was a reminder of like, it's been a lot of hard work. It's been a fun journey. I feel blessed that I've been able to see the country so many times over, that I've been to Salt Lake City this many times, that I've met people like you. Like today has felt like I get to see a couple other friends today. There's actually a buddy who just flew in from France today. His sister lives here. Coincidentally, he's here today. I haven't seen him in 5 years. So like I did a tour with him in Europe in 2018. So it's like, I get to see that guy today. Jeeves, who plays drums for Crown the Empire, he's here. He's like one of my close friends. I get to see him. And so it's all just been a big blessing. But yeah, today feels like a full circle moment. For real, it does. That sounds corny, but if there's something that wasn't today, I would say when I met Vinnie Paul.
Okay.
Meeting Vinnie Paul, I met him a couple months right before he passed away.
Oh, wow.
So rest in peace, Vinnie. But one of my favorite drummers as a kid, such a unique sound, just like I listened to so much Pantera when I was a child.
Yeah.
And meeting him was really cool. He was so dope. He was so cool. And he took a photo. Like he asked me, he's like, I'm assuming you want a photo. I was like, I mean, I'll take one. I wasn't going to ask. And he had his girlfriend take a photo of us. And then he like texted it to me. And I was like, dude, I have Vinny's number. And,
that's amazing.
And then, unfortunately he passed, man. And everybody I knew who knew him said he was like the best guy. So, anyway. Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah. Quite the full circle moment.
Yeah. That felt cool.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. Yeah. I love how just your experience playing and coming back to the same venues, but just life being so different, whether it's, pre Big Room, pre Liquid Death, pre Rock Locks. And to think that you'll come back maybe in a couple years and who knows what life will look like then.
I always look forward to Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
I love the Salt Lake City shows. The one Warped Tour I played here, we closed.
Oh, wow.
And we closed. And closing Warped Tour is not always the best thing, but it was great that day. I just remember, I remember the show. I remember the photos from it. I remember what the stage looked like. I have a lot of really cool memories playing at Salt Lake City. So I played at Utah State University one time. I know it's not Salt Lake City, but
down south, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was in like Ogden.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't. Anyway.
That's awesome. Well, we love you here in Salt Lake City. You're always welcome back. And if you're ever stopping by, feel free to hit us up. Check out what we're doing. And then there's also a great food scene.
There is.
Beer scene.
Yeah.
Like all that type of stuff. So
I think when I first came here, beer was sub 3% or something crazy like that. And bars were closing at like 8:15 or something. I don't know.
It was like, a little better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, Salt Lake City's like popping now. And I listen to a lot of comedy podcasts and they comics love coming here too. So hey, it's turning up.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Awesome. Well, anything else you want to share with our guests or listeners?
Check out Rock Locks. Rock Locks are my, it's kind of my as a hired gun who never had a band of my own. Like none of these bands I've played for are my bands. Like Rock Locks is my thing, and it's something that I like really believe in, and something that I've spent a lot of time and money like creating a product that really actually works. So check out rocklocksusa.com or at Rocklocks. I'm sorry. At RocklocksUSA on Instagram. Yeah.
And then rocklocksusa.com.
Correct.
Is the website?
Yes,
cool.
Correct.
Cool.
I wanted to get Rocklocks US or Rocklocks. Geez. I wanted to get rocklocks.com. Too expensive.
Yeah.
They turned down my $250 offer. Surprise.
I know what you mean.
I also really wanted to make the pieces in the USA, like in America, because I wanted to make sure that I wanted to have an extremely hands-on. We're talking fractions of a millimeter,
right,
for it to work or not work. So that's why I had to make two sizes. Like, I guess I should have talked about this earlier, but I'll talk about it now. The 53s are the standards one, okay? It stands for 5.3 millimeters, which is roughly the size of the top of an average tension rod, okay? A lot of people get confused. They think it's a hoop issue. They think it's die cast versus triple flange or whatever. It has almost nothing to do with the hoops. It's the top of the tension rod. So the inside of the rock lock has a 12-point star. If it fits on that little square, it has to be loose enough to get on, but tight enough to stay on when you're bashing it.
Right.
So it's a very fine line. And that's why if it's a smaller tension rod, I have the 49s, which stands for 4.9 millimeters. 4.9 millimeters, 5.3 millimeters. We're talking 0.4 millimeters is the difference. That is nothing. It's a difference between it working and not working.
Right.
And I think that this is why nobody's really figured it out.
Yeah.
It's a complicated. I didn't know tension rod. I didn't know before I made rock locks that tension rods were like so different.
Right.
Why are they all different sizes? Just make them all the same size. Why?
Yes. 100%.
Like this is not you. Like these companies come up with these like fancy tension rods. It's like that's not changing the sound of the drum. It's a screw.
Right.
Just make the drum. It's like don't reinvent the wheel here. Like some of the best sounding drums I've ever played have just the most normal hoops and tension rods on them.
Right.
It's not those. That's not going to change the game. So.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And so that's interesting too, because there's a bit of education that most drummers probably don't know about, but you guys have done all the work and all that, learning about all those things. So going to your site, it's super easy just to be like, okay, this is the most common one. It's most likely this. So
we are really good about, if you get the wrong size, like we will make it right for you. Like, cause I know that one of those two sizes is going to work for you. So it's like, if one doesn't work, I'm sorry. And I can't, we can't predict whatever, like for example, like a lot of Tama drums use the 49s, but somebody could take a Tama snare and put normal tension rods on it,
right.
and I would have never known, and you bought that off of OfferUp, and I'm sorry that you ordered the wrong size. But I always give people free packs. Like if they order a pack and there's something wrong, like I hook them up. I want people to be stoked about it. I want them to be happy. Like I want this to solve your problem. Like it's given me such a peace of mind. Like I don't have to think about my drums falling out of tune. I almost take it for granted now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very difficult thing. And now I didn't know I was going to have to make two sizes. The last thing I wanted to do was make two sizes. I just couldn't figure it out with one size.
Right.
It was just not, with my design and everything, it just wasn't possible. If
right.
somebody can come up with something better, well, you're not, but
yeah. You guys have quite a head start. So
pretty good head start, and a patent has been pending for over 2.5 years. So good luck trying to,
right.
No one can mess with it.
Right. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. The customer service side, especially for us at Full Circle, has been, just something as a person. It's like the golden rule, like treat others the way you want to be treated. And I just don't understand, because I buy things from other companies, and just how impersonal it could be, or even maybe it was a mistake on my end, or maybe it was a website mistake or something like that, and how difficult it could be. And it's so off-putting. There's some businesses I'm like, how are you still in business if you treat your customers like this?
My girlfriend and I she's been trying to order a dog leash from this one company for like 2 months. And they were 3 weeks late on the first order, sent the wrong leash, then didn't care. It was like this whole ordeal over a dog leash. And it was like, the whole time I'm sitting there thinking like, dude, whatever the cost of the dog leash is not worth any of this. You could have sent the customer 5 free dog leashes by now, and it would have been cheaper and better for your business than putting my girlfriend through all this hoopla and pissing her off. Like, to me, it's like anything to make the customer happy, because if they're not buying the product, you don't have a business.
Yeah.
And don't you want your product to like do well? Like, don't you care that people like it? I really care that people like it. Like, I really want people to like it. Like, and the cost of goods and me shipping you a free pack to make you happy is totally worth it in the grand scheme of, and I think and I didn't set this blueprint. This isn't like rocket science. Like Amazon's been doing it forever, but Target, everybody knows if you go to Target, the returns are easy. Everybody knows if you go to Costco, the returns are easy. Like there's certain Chewy, the
dog brand.
Insane. Yeah. Like they send you get well card. Like they send you all kinds of crazy stuff, and insane customer service. Yeah. And because of that, you always want to go back.
Right.
And like to me, it's
tell other people about it.
To me, it makes so much sense. Like, how does this go over your head? How are you running a business and you're not taking care of your people? But again, back to what I said about the drum industry, it's time for. There's some stuff I could never say on a public platform but one day I'm going to write a book, and I don't know. There's just like the conversations I have had behind the scenes with people at these like larger drum companies. I mean, it is shocking. Yeah. It is just absolutely baffling how out of touch they are sometimes. What are you going to do?
It's their choice.
Yeah, it's their choice, their business. You do your, I'll keep doing my thing.
Sometimes I'm like, thank you, actually. I'll just take your customers. No worries.
Yeah, these companies are lucky I don't have some money to make my own drum company, or like they'd probably all be gone.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Cool.
No,
cool,
I'm just kidding about that. I love so many different drum companies. I just mean like there's a handful of really good people in this industry, and a lot of people who should be working on something else. I'll put it that way, because they're not drummers. They don't understand drums.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah, 100%. I wouldn't have started my company if I weren't a drummer, because it came kind of like, your experience with touring and playing drums. That's where the need for rock locks came from. And you tried other things on the market. It just wasn't there. Like my own broken cymbals, I didn't know what to do with them other than like, maybe I'll put them on a wall, but I feel there could be something else. So I just started with bottle openers and went from there. So yeah, it's different if you're actually a drummer. Yeah.
And if something comes from, like, the best inventions come out of necessity, and then they're scalable. It's like, but the whole world of drum, it's a very small world. I mean, you saw like DW got purchased by Roland last year, right? Well, they got bought for 60 something million. That is nothing in the grand scheme of like businesses. So like I know it sounds like a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of like what like other industries go, if the biggest, most popular drum company of all time, DW, sells for only 60 million, that's like crazy, right? Roland does like 500 million a year, I think, in sales, something like that. But like you see, like in the tech world, an app will sell for like $9 billion. It's like, what? So there's levels to this thing. The drum industry is really small, and like we gotta like all be friends with each other and help each other out and share ideas and take care of each other, not like gatekeep and be like weirdos about things. Like that's not what drums are about, dude. I never started playing drums to make money. I started playing drums because it was fun. I still do it because it's fun. If I wanted to go make money, I would go like work in tech. Right.
Like on the $9 billion app.
Yeah, on the $9 billion app. But like I still love playing drums so much, and like I'm very grateful to be able to make a living doing between the things that I do, but it's insanely hard.
Yeah.
So
yeah, agreed. I think for me personally, I've experienced, not so much now, but earlier, kind of like it's felt like kind of elitist mentality, like,
oh, big time.
Oh, you use that or whatever. And then also just coming up as a female drummer.
Oh, so brutal.
I love seeing the progress to now, and I think it's getting better finally. But, I've been playing drums for like 20 years, and there weren't a lot of examples of female drummers just out in the media. And then even just trying to play local shows and just there's just the things that people have said to me are just, it's ridiculous.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
I've seen it on tours a lot. Yeah. Like when there's one girl on the tour or two girls on the tour, it's like, it's rough. There's this stuff that gets said by stagehands and by other bands and tour managers, and like, who were some of your drumming heroes as a kid, like in as far as female drummers go, and then like even today?
Yeah, like Sheila E. was the most prominent one. Like
Sheila E. Yeah, the goat.
Yeah, there weren't a whole ton out there.
There weren't.
For me, it was really like Travis Barker and that type of thing. But anytime I would see a female drummer at all, I was like, oh my gosh,
so cool. And now it's like very, like when I was learning drums, there was no YouTube. There was no.
Yeah.
But now it's like you can find so many good drummers of all types of different backgrounds and different people. Yeah. Just so many different types of people play drums now. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's amazing to see. Yeah. So back then to even just artists, like when I was really young, like Sheryl Crow, Shania Twain, just like female artists in general that were doing their own thing. And I was like, that's amazing. That's what I want to do, but just with drums. And then like Annika Niles is one of my favorite drummers. I sent her one of our necklaces, the full circle necklace, and she sent me back a picture of her wearing it with this huge smile. Cool. And I'm like,
that's cool.
Okay, I'm done. Like I'm good.
Yeah. She's amazing.
Best. Yeah.
Do you know who Madden? I think her name is Madden Kloss.
Yes.
Is that correct? Did I say that correctly?
She plays with Boy Genius.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. So we've I've been in touch with her. She has a few of our things too.
She's so dope.
Super amazing.
She's so dope.
Yep.
She's so dope. Her feel is so dope.
Yeah.
Like I've sent her rock locks.
Groovy. Okay, cool.
Yeah. She's awesome. I forgot who she was playing. Oh, you said Boy Genius?
Yeah.
But I think she was doing there was like a rapper she was doing before that.
A ton of stuff, I think.
I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, she's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many good female and girl drummers these days, and like you said, it's just we're in a different world now. Like the drumming community is like totally different. There's like a whole online aspect to it. There's this like international aspect. Like the biggest, the drummer I get sent videos of the most, and the people, whenever people find out I play drums, they're like, "Oh, have you seen this guy play?" It's always I don't even know his name, Esteban, the guy with the beard who does like one-handed Slipknot covers. Something I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's like Portuguese or something.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest drummer on Instagram is from Portugal, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like we're in a different world now.
Right.
So
just so amazing. And then we got to shout out Dorothea, too.
Oh, yeah.
The godmother of drumming. Yeah, she's a friend of mine and just is so funny and so amazing. I know it has done things with Liquid Death.
She's great. She's been awesome to work with. And also it's so funny. I recorded drums and toured with this band called 100th.
Yeah.
Andrew, the bass player, when he was a kid, took drum lessons from Dorothea because they're from South Carolina.
Okay, yeah.
So that's a full circle moment.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks so much, Anthony.
Of
it
course.
was great catching up and chit-chatting.
Yeah.
Feel free to check out rocklocksusa.com, fullcirclecompany.co, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Peace.